Ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, children of all ages, welcome to the Monday Night Madness. No, this is Suds News. This is Angela. I'm Vinny. Welcome to the Monday Night Main Event. How are you, Angela?
I am great. How you doing tonight, Vin?
I am doing good myself. Tired, but that's a normal Monday for me.
Right?
But you know what? It's all right because we have a great week of General Hospital to talk about. A couple of programming notes right off the bat. There will be no episode of Gate Crashers tonight. Kim is traveling back to Chicago. But also tonight, there's just been so many moving parts, and Angela will get into it a little bit later. There's just been so many moving parts today that we're going to have to not do Gate Crashers tonight. It'll be back next week in its normal time. And this week marks the return of Dockside at the Bay. Kim and I will get together again to record Dockside at the Bay to catch everybody up and get back on track now that school is over. Hey, Jeannie. Hey, Chad. Welcome to the chat. Everybody jump on in. The water is feeling nice in that Metro Court pool, as Edgar Boyle could tell you.
Yes.
Anyways, we've got a lot to talk about. Angela, how was your week?
Good. It's been busy, but good. Mm-hmm. You know, family things, writing, living the dream.
Absolutely. You want to let everybody know who has been following the story. Ron Killings is back in WWE. He did make a surprise appearance in the main event of Money in the Bank on Saturday. And you can check out the Money in the Bank after show that the guys from Chair Shot Sports did. That is on our YouTube channel, and it'll be going up on the RSS feed tomorrow. Just a great week of everything, whether it was wrestling or soap operas. Just a fun week that we've had all along. Hi, Tina. Welcome to the chat from X. So glad that everybody's starting to tune in. But all right, so we had obviously a lot of big news, and we do need to set the record straight because we've got a lot of hate for something that we reported last week regarding Jonathan Jackson.
And this one's not on you, Vin. This is on me. But here's the thing, guys. Our info wasn't wrong. It was old. We were, the people that we got it from had gotten it from, because we got it from NGE, who are legit. And it wasn't wrong. It was just outdated. And anybody who read JJ's exit interview with TV Insider today knows that. Because he said that they tried to work it out and they wanted him to stay. Which is exactly what we said was happening. Correct. We were just behind in the information. And not only that, but when, the JJ's reps were contacted very recently, they said that he was under contract with General Hospital until February, which seemed to bear out that, that Frank had gotten his way in getting him to stay till February. It wasn't true. Whatever. Or it was, at the time that they said it was. But JJ also said that this all happened very recently. Mm-hmm. This isn't something that's been in the works for months.
Yeah. And that could be told just by the story that played out on screen, like just a very abruptly him proposing to Elizabeth, like out of nowhere. Right.
And today something happened that I was looking for to find out, because I had heard last week, a source had told me that they were considering that Frank had been still trying to get him back. Mm-hmm. But if he was not able to, they were trying to decide if they were going to recast to play out the story, because they already had the whole story written out and that, or, planned. And it's hard to swivel away from that. Mm-hmm. Or if they were going to scrap it and try to go a different direction. They told me that that they were leaning towards recasting, and they also told me when Lucky leaves town, Aiden's going with him. And that how they're planning on writing a recast back in.
Okay, that makes sense.
And then that happened today.
Right.
And we didn't know it was going to happen today until it did. So that's what I was looking for today. I wanted to see, if they were going to do that. So it's possible, that at the end of the summer, we see a Lucky recast come back.
Okay.
It's also possible we don't. Here's what you guys have to understand. Things change.
Oh, yeah.
I mean, the show has plans. The actors have plans. Things change. Things go different. There have been times Soap Opera Digest has reported things, and then they turned out that it had changed.
Yeah.
That's how it goes. And when, as far as people that get information, I always say, because I go on Daytime Dish a lot, and I always say, sometimes my info is right, sometimes it's wrong, and now I can add, sometimes it's just old.
Yeah.
We're not here making things up.
Right.
Believe me, I could make up much better stories than JJ wants to leave and Frank's trying to get him to stay.
Right.
So we're not trying to lie to anybody or hoodwink anybody. Not to mention Frank has that studio locked down so tight that it's hard to get info out. And all of the crew are on everybody, the cast and the crew are on a 1 strike warning.
Yeah.
Does that mean that he's going to fire anybody that lets out a spoiler? No, but he might.
Right.
I do have a couple things that I can. We don't work there.
Right.
And the thing is that we don't know how old info is by the time it has trickled down to us.
Right.
A while back, I had been told by somebody on set that Kelly Monaco had another job, and it was another soap. As it turned out, it was the podcast. But what had happened is she had told somebody about the podcast, and they had told somebody else, and it was the game of telephone.
Game of telephone, yep.
And that by the time it got to my guy,
it was another show.
Another show.
Yep.
And it wasn't it was the podcast. She does have another job. It's the podcast. You know what I mean? But it was the game of telephone.
It still hasn't started.
Right. When info is passing that way, it's going to get,
It's going to get mangled.
Right.
We try
to, and we don't get it all wrong. We told you guys they were doing the nurses' ball, and we were the first ones to do that.
Mm-hmm.
I was the first one to call Rory as Michael.
Yep.
I was the first one to figure that out. I told you guys Natalia's leaving town in a body bag in July. We'll see if I'm right.
And speaking of that, I started, so just in full transparency, I started putting little AI generated shorts, clips, reels, whatever you want to call them, up on TikTok and Facebook and YouTube, just trying to promote the show. And let me tell you something. That one clip about Natalia being killed off garnered over 12.5 thousand views on TikTok in the first 3 days. Wow. And 1,500 views on YouTube. So thank you so much for watching that. And we're going to keep going with that going forward as it becomes so popular.
If you guys would rather us not tell you guys things that we've heard in case they're not true. I never say anything unless I've heard it from multiple sources.
Right.
But that doesn't, confirm, that doesn't mean it's always going to be 100% true because things change.
Yep. Plans change, unfortunately, and we don't always get that up to the minute information. And not to mention, hey, what's up, Matt?
Oh, it's Matt, the troublemaker. There goes the neighborhood.
Y'all leak like a cruise ship. Hey, Quiet Star, welcome to the chat. First of all, before we get into any more, so here's the question. We'll get into this in a little bit. Where does that leave Becky's contract status?
We'll answer
that.
We'll
get into that in a little bit, in a minute. I do want to remind everybody that the Sudsy Awards voting is still open. It is open for the entire month of June. Go to suds-media.com/Sudsy voting, and you can go vote. And I'll put the link up on our social media again today, just to remind everybody. And I do want to, I did mention last week that Chris McKenna, who plays Jack Brennan, did retweet the recast of the year category. It actually helped me to see that I had to edit some of the information on there, so I did. But all those are up now, and the for the nominee videos. So definitely go over. Matt and Kat from the 10th floor will be presenters this year, along with myself, Angela, Kim, Julie Dove is going to be a presenter this year. John Anthony from Chairshot Sports, Big Mike from the Runnin' Podcast, Michael and Tori from the Kicking Out at 2 podcast, Jesse B from the Lowdown with Princess Skywalker will also be. So we have we're gearing up with a lot of presenters this year. It's going to be live Friday night, August 1st, 8 p.m. Eastern, 5 p.m. Pacific. It is the Sudsy Awards live for the first time. Does that mean that every presenter is going to be live? No, that does not mean that. And I don't want to give anybody expectations that Julie Dove is going to be presenting live. But either way, the show itself will be live.
Yes.
So go there and vote. suds-media.com/Sudsy voting. All right. So there was a question that I posted right before I went into that plug. Tinklu commented, where does that leave Becky's contract status? Do we have any information on that?
Okay, so I've been trying to find out. So Becky's contract expires this month. It used to, I know that a lot of people came at me because they're like, oh no, her contract cycle was in March. It was in March until COVID. They shut down for 3 months in COVID and everybody's contracts were paused. And that's why, Marcus Coloma had started, I believe, October or something. And he, but his contract wasn't up and his, wasn't up and didn't have him exiting until January. He left before that and Adam Huss finished it. But that was also, we saw that with Peter. His contract would have been up in November. He didn't exit till February. Actors have also talked about it. So her contract cycle used to be March, and now it's June.
Right.
So I've been trying to find out. I have not gotten any confirmation that she has signed. I know she is on set filming as of right now. So she has not left. But we won't know. I mean, the show will not comment on contract status.
No.
They don't. I spoke to a show spokesperson trying to find out if Kelly Tebow is coming back on contract. And I got the same response I always ask. And I always ask because I have to try. We do not comment on contract status. I could send them an email and ask if Laura Wright was on contract. Ginny Francis, Maurice Bernard, and it would be the same answer. We do not comment on contract status. So most of the time, I mean, if she is going to leave, if she does not sign a contract by the end of the month, I have no doubt it will leak. We found out about Kelly because Kelly leaked it.
Yep.
But if I would say end of the month, mid-July at the very latest. If we don't hear that she's leaving, she's probably not leaving. Right. The other way that we know is when contract, the status at the end credits on Friday. The first people alphabetized are the people on contract. The next set alphabetized are the the first people listed. They're not all alphabetized. They're usually in order of when they went on the show. Hold on, Steve, I'll get there. And then it's the recurring characters. But that won't be, that won't reflect, that contract status doesn't reflect until what airs is, no longer under contract or whatever. Okay, so I was told that Frank was trying to get JJ to stay until February because he wanted to do a big wedding for Lucky and Liz and write them off happily ever after. Frank wanted a Liz and Lucky happily ever after. He was not able to get Frank to stay or JJ to stay. So this all happened very quickly. They're trying to decide now what they're going to do. If they're going to recast Lucky or scrap the story they had planned and go, we don't know yet because JJ left quickly. And he said that in the article that was written, that went out today. There's nothing we can do about stuff like that. The show can have all the plans they want, but when an actor leaves, then, if an actor's leaving very quickly, and he left because his family was in Nashville and he couldn't make it work. He tried to make it work with going back and forth and couldn't. So,
that happens.
There was no negotiating with that for him. So Frank tried, didn't work, but that is how it is. But we don't know her contract status because I'm not saying I think this is going to happen, but I'm saying it is totally possible that if Frank decides to scrap that story, he'll say, all right, we're just going to have Liz say, I've decided I do want to give that life a chance with Lucky. I'm going to meet him. And she leaves. Or they could bring on a new love interest for her. We don't know yet because we don't know what they're planning on doing, if they're recasting Lucky, if they're not, if they're scrapping the story, if they're changing the story. And if they're changing the story, we don't know who's, which way they'd go. She's not a legacy. She's a vet. She's not a legacy. Legacy characters are born on screen to a prominent family, or their birth is referenced on screen to a prominent family. Like Lucky was born off screen, but his birth at the time of his birth was talked about. He is a legacy. Robin's not a legacy. Carly's not a legacy. Legacy isn't you were just there for a while. Legacy is you were born on screen to a prominent family.
So like Michael, Jocelyn,
Christina, Jason, AJ, those were legacies. And technically, Drew is considered now a legacy because, he was a retcon legacy, but he would have been born the same time Jason was as twins. Yeah, I do know what you mean. She's a vet, and I get that. And she's not my fave, but I totally understand. I absolutely understand. But here's the thing. And chemo is not the first time we learned this lesson. Seniority isn't what they go by.
Right.
And how long Stuart Damon was on that show.
Yeah.
And they killed him off
and he didn't even get a placard when he actually passed away. I
know. Exactly. I'm just saying, Anna Lee, who played Lila Quarterman, they had promised her that she could stay on and then booted her.
Yeah.
At the end of the day, it's a business.
Exactly.
And they do what they need to do for story. And if they decide, because the thing is that, what are they going to do with Liz? They could absolutely, there are things they could do. They could bring on a new love interest for her. They could bring back Nick. They could put her with Rick, although Rick's not long, Rick is recurring.
Right.
They could make her a Bobby type character with being head nurse and being a talk to at the hospital. There are a lot of things they can do with her. But they may also say, she's been here a long time. We didn't plan to bring on somebody new for her. We didn't plan to write a whole new story for her. And we could save money because she's one of the, been there for so long, she would be one of the higher pays, like chemo. I'm not saying they're going to do that. I'm saying what they could do is a lot of different things, and we don't know yet.
Right.
You know, there are, and I've been saying, as far as Becky goes, I've been saying for weeks now that there were a lot of moving parts when it came to her contract. I was under the impression it was the JJ stuff because I had been told, you know, I mean, because of what that Frank was trying to get him to stay. But there are still a lot of moving parts, but they're different parts now.
Yeah.
You know, so we'll see.
Yep. So it happens. I mean, it's the unfortunate truth. We don't always get everything right, and you know, sometimes the even the information we do get, like you said, it's either old, it's wrong, or they change their plans. I mean, you know, it happens all the time. And you can ask Dave Meltzer, if you're a wrestling fan, you understand the reference. Dave Meltzer from Wrestling Observer numerous times put down information, and he'll come back with plans change. So I mean, it happens. It really does.
The show has released breakdowns for that week, and they turn out to be incorrect because things changed and they didn't change the breakdowns. You know what I mean? That's how it goes.
Yeah.
You know, it's.
Well, speaking of breakdowns, we did see Natalia break down this week, get hammered at the Metro Court pool, just on Friday. You know,
did you catch the Haley Poulos swipe the show made?
Yeah.
Did you guys all catch that?
No, actually.
When the cop was arresting her and she was complaining that she was wearing a white dress and didn't want it to get dirty. That was a swipe on Haley Poulos, who used to play Molly, because she had been in a drunk driving accident, a real bad one. Right. And when the paramedics were like cutting her out of her car, she was complaining to them. She was saying, "Don't ruin, this is a $400 shirt."
Oh my God, I did not know that information.
It was in all of the articles. So GH kind of took a little swipe there at her.
And then to have Molly come in, you know, new Molly, of course, come in. So, you know, and as Matt says, we don't know these people. We're not back there. Don't come here for the news.
Come on. I get it right more than I don't, Matt.
But, you know, yes. So Natalia coming out, acting like it totally, like, and here's the thing. It seemed a little out of character. It almost seemed like it was just she got drunk because she was upset because she went to Marco. Marco dismissed her. She said she wanted to go back on tour with Blaze. We'll get there, Steve. And you know, he's like, why would Allison want you there with her? She doesn't take your calls. She doesn't return your texts. It was nice to have a Blaze reference this week, although I don't foresee her coming back anytime soon, unfortunately. But, you know, and then she goes to have a few drinks. She talks to Sonny, and then she gets in her car, and, you know, they say that she's hammered.
Now, I know they're killing her off. I don't know if it's a murder or not. I think that it probably will be since it's happening in July. But I also, because it really seems like they're making her very, very desperate and like she's lost everything and has nothing. I could also see her, you know, I don't know if they'd have her kill herself and frame somebody for her death, but I could see her like doing something like that to Sidwell.
Yeah, I would say that.
You know,
either that or Sidwell kills her.
Yeah, which I said, my thing is that I don't think he would kill her because he hadn't as of now.
Well, that's true.
And he said, you know, that she had done whatever to ruin their family. I assume that it was the affair that produced Blaze, but we'll see. I'm sure we'll hear more about it. But it's interesting. I'm also wondering if they're going to make it a murder and make Sonny a suspect because they are hooking up Sonny with the new ADA.
Yeah.
So that would complicate things for them.
And that also, if the rumors are true, that could lead to Sonny's leaving if he gets framed for murder.
Yeah.
and the ADA is coming at him,
Mm-hmm.
very hard. So,
Right.
All the stories it could, they could all intertwine. It could be just. I actually thought she was going to be getting into a car accident. And they were going to be like wipe their hands of her.
Well, I knew that wasn't true because I knew that it had been filmed in July, or filmed first airing in July. There are some things I'm 100% positive of. And after it airs, I'll tell you the story of why I know for a fact that one was true.
Okay. Sounds good. Either way, just a fantastic week of episodes.
Mm-hmm.
And I really liked the way that Natalia was acting like a total diva.
Yeah.
And then Molly coming in and saying, "Oh, well, I have to recuse myself."
Yep.
And I liked how Natalia's like, "Well, I don't know you." She's like, "No, but I know you. You were, you were horrible to my sister."
Right.
And she's like, "Well, Christina and I got past that." And Mom's like, "She has a bigger heart than I do."
Yeah. Which ironically is not true.
Right, exactly.
But, mess with my sister, nobody can mess with my sister but me, kind of thing.
Yeah. Speaking of Christina, Kate Mansi did get married over the weekend.
Yep. It was a surprise. Everybody thought they were coming for a engagement party.
Yeah. So big wedding. I heard some celebrities were there. Jonathan Taylor Thomas being one of them.
And Giovanni Mazza played the song she walked down the aisle to.
That's awesome. That's really awesome. And by the way, folks, if you want to read about my wedding, go pick up your book. Go pick up your copy of the book Beyond Nitro by Guy Evans. There is a chapter about Neil Pruitt and the NWO, the voice of the NWO, and how it came to be that I actually had him do a voiceover for my wedding a few years ago. So check that out again. Beyond Nitro by Guy Evans, and actually Guy Evans will be coming on for an interview with me at some point in the near future on the channel. So just stay tuned. So, anywho, getting back to General Hospital, Natalia tries to call Marco to get a lawyer, get her some representation. He sends it to voicemail, which okay, that's fine.
Yeah.
But then the ADA walks in, and she's ready to go to war.
Yep. Well, she wants it on Sunny.
Absolutely. So she's probably going to milk the information on Sunny. Although Natalia doesn't know much about anything about Sunny's business.
Yep.
I don't know if Mary Beth Evans is there, Chad. It
wouldn't surprise me because Kate was on Days for so long.
Yeah.
So it wouldn't surprise me if she was, but I didn't take a look. I didn't deep dive into who was there. So I had just done that with Steve's. I didn't have it in me.
Yeah.
So.
All right, moving on. So Michael and Christina did get a scene together last Monday. Kind of talked about it on last week's episode, getting ready for court. And I did like how Alexis pulled Christina out of court and just said, it's not a good idea for you to be there.
Yeah. Well, she knows that Christina's a hothead, and Rick absolutely would have. Although I bet Rick was regretting that after, he couldn't shake Jocelyn.
Yes. Holy cow. Jocelyn
was regretting that one after he couldn't shake Jocelyn. Oh, she was great.
Yes.
She was phenomenal on the stand.
Yeah, she absolutely was.
The WSB training came in clutch for Joss.
I like the character. I like the character change because normally she's a hothead like her mother, and she'll get pissed off. but she held her cool. She had a couple of very pointed comments at Drew and Willow. And I like how Carly kind of texted her before and said, keep your cool on the stand.
Yeah. Yep.
It was great. It was a great job all around. And obviously, they're trying to tell the audience to root for Michael because, you know, Willow and Drew are so unlikable. But that, to me, really, really hit me. That Jocelyn's testimony, because Rick was going at her and trying to catch her up and trying to get under her skin, and he couldn't.
And he just couldn't do it. Even Carly was sitting there talking to her, under her breath, "Don't take the bait, Jocelyn."
Yeah.
Now, who do you think's going to win the custody case?
I think it's hard for me to tell. I want to say Michael.
Did you see the promo?
I didn't watch the promo. I tried not to watch the next day's, next day.
Oh, no, I meant the weekly.
Oh, no, I never see the weekly promo.
Oh, it's always on their 7 a.m. Monday morning, 7 a.m. Eastern time Monday morning.
Oh, okay.
On their social medias. But in the promo, you hear the judge's voice saying, I award legal and physical custody to.
Yeah.
So whoever's getting it is getting sole custody.
And I have a feeling it's going to be Carly.
No, I think it'll be Michael, because I think that because everybody is so convinced that it's going to be Willow.
And,
you know what I mean?
I'm sorry, but after what happened today, I just completely turned my back on anything Drew or Willow, because, and I posted a tweet about it, but as slimy as Drew has been, it was pretty bad today. I'm sorry, he's on number one on my hit list at this point.
But here's what's funny. And I mean, the thing with Drew, it was absolutely. I'm not excusing it. I'm not saying I like Drew. I'm saying he's a great bad guy. What's ironic with this is that when Michael was kidnapped by AJ as a child, and AJ faked his death and sent the pictures to Carly and Sonny that showed that he was dead from a gunshot wound to the head. He made Michael pose for them. He also told Michael that Sonny and Carly didn't want him anymore.
Yeah.
So there's a real, he is just more and more Quartermain all the damn time.
No, you're absolutely right.
So, I mean, Willow is confident it's going to be her. Drew's confident it's going to be her. And even Carly told Jason that she was afraid that Willow was going to win. I think, and supposedly on Thursday, there's a shock in a shock wave goes through the courtroom, which is what the verdict is. And I think it's going to be Michael.
Yeah.
I mean, I know there are people who are like, oh, it's going to be Drew. Oh, it's going to be Nino. It's going to be, I don't think they haven't presented that as an option. You know what I mean?
No,
there hasn't been anybody. So I think, because the thing is that adultery does not make you a bad parent.
Right.
It makes you a bad spouse. Sorry,
exactly.
I had a and at the very least, they're even on the adultery thing. But only one of them moved the kids.
Right.
Without care for the children. Right.
Yeah.
And Willow and Drew are planning to move the kids to DC if they get custody, so there's no story there.
Exactly.
Yeah.
And I've got to quote Chad, who's in our chat earlier today, put out a post on X, and I said I was going to use it. He says, and I quote, "Willow, you bitch. Michael's always been a good father. All of a sudden, you don't believe it anymore. Drew's hands are so far up Willow's ass like a ventriloquist dummy."
Yeah.
And that's because a lot of that was manipulated by Drew. And for Willow to not believe Michael from what their child said, and Drew, to allow Drew in her head to say that,
And, you know, and then she was up on the stand talking about how Michael was an absentee father. When did that happen?
Right.
I remember Michael taking a leave from work when she was sick with cancer.
Yep.
I don't think that Drew is going to pay off the judge because he's cocky that Willow's going to win because the Sasha secret was exposed.
Yep. And I like that Michael told Diane they never refused to see Willow in Germany. So that's got to come up.
Right.
Because I don't know. I have a feeling part of this this custody battle was supposed to get in the middle of Willow and Drew. Because
I think there's going to be cracks. Right.
Yeah. Because there's got to be something where, because Willow even said it on the stand that Michael refused to see her in Germany.
And Michael wrote the note to Diane that never happened.
Yeah.
Right. Yeah. So, I mean, the thing is, I mean, at this point, it'll probably be, you know, he said, she said kind of thing.
Of course.
But, it's gonna, you know, give Willow pause. And I also think, you know, that Willow will lose the kids.
Yep.
And then she's going to be like, well, maybe I should end things with Drew so I can, you know, be able to see my kids or, you know, and I think it's going to keep building and building, and Drew's going to get more and more desperate and do more and more crazy things.
Yep.
And then it'll all come to a head. I'm thinking it probably all comes to a head in July.
That's what I'm thinking.
Because the WSB thing is not ending that soon.
Right.
So, I mean, there's going to be stuff that happens with that in July, like Dr. O and Britt. Well, not Britt, Kelly. Yep. And stuff. But it's going to be, I think that's going to, the Willow or the Nina and Drew secret will come out.
Mm-hmm.
And that'll implode.
Has the other information that I learned about come out yet? About the other person that's returning?
Nathan, not Nathan?
Yeah.
It has not been officially confirmed like Britt, not Britt. But yes, from what you've heard, from what other people have heard, Ryan Peavy is also coming back.
So with Dr. O with the helm.
With Dr. O, because Dr. O is working with Dalton.
Yep.
Now, I was told that it's not a cloning story, but they're not Britt and Nathan. It not being a cloning story doesn't entirely make sense to me because Daniel Goddard said that Henry Dalton's hero is a doctor who was like instrumental in cloning, but that could also just be him.
Right.
You know what I mean? This could be a mind mapping thing. I mean, it's something sci-fi.
Yeah.
You
We're
know?
getting into Day's territory, folks.
Right, exactly. They're not Britt and Nathan. But I could see, because I mean, Faison and, you know, Dr. O was in on the mind mapping stuff too.
That's true. Could we get Andre Maddox back?
Maybe.
That would be nice.
So I could definitely see like that she found somebody that looked like them, or she had somebody have surgery to look like them.
Yeah.
And did the mind mapping on them. And they could also use this to redeem Drew.
They could.
Because they could say that he was an experiment that they played with it after his prison beating.
Oh, that's a good idea.
And that's why he's acting the way he is.
Yep. It seems like Donna's talking a little behind.
Right. And not for nothing, but Kelly Tebow and Cameron Matheson are all over each other's Instagram posts. And they never have been before.
Right.
Liking, commenting. So I'm like, they're either dating or they're working a lot together. Because they didn't work a lot together before.
Yeah.
So this is why we notice these things, because it gives hints.
Yep. Exactly.
So, yeah.
But yeah, big news coming out. Kelly Tebow and Ryan Pavey coming back to GH. We know that Kelly Tebow is on contract. We don't know about Ryan Pavey yet.
Yes.
But
and we
with
know
Dr. O and
not Nathan.
And I'm looking forward to this. I'm, you know, and David from from Take Two Radio and GE Soaps says, "Do we need science fiction?" Well,
Come
you know
on.
what? You don't
The
need
story
it.
that
But
saved General Hospital, the Ice Princess story, was science fiction, baby.
yeah, and you know what? It's okay to be hokey a little bit.
Yes. It's a soap. Casey the alien.
Right.
The mask that, changes everything about you. Another thing that I found out that's very interesting, which will be interesting to see, which is why I wonder, because Ryan Peavy's not filming yet, and Kelly Tebow is. She started last week. I'm wondering.
Her first date is in July, I believe.
Yes. I'm wondering if they're holding back on the Ryan Peavy part of it because Kirsten Storms is on a break right now. She requested a few months off because she's having some problems with the mental health issues that she's disclosed. She is bipolar and she's having some issues and she's dealing with them, which is wonderful. And Frank gave her a couple months off to be able to deal with them. Yeah. So it's weird that they'd bring Nathan back unless they're going to do a temp recast, which I don't know if they are or not. Her break just kind of came up recently, so I don't know how it's going to be handled yet. So that will be interesting. So, and we'll get to see more of that cute little James kid.
Well, that's good. I like James. I like him. That kid's got. I'm sorry, but James has a little bit more charisma than Wiley. I will say that.
Although Michael has actually made me like Wiley.
Yeah.
So those first scenes. Usually I have like little to no use for kids, even my faves kids. But Mike, this Michael actually made me go, wow, that was a cute scene with Wiley there. Yeah.
Yeah. And I like how I really like how they did that. I trust me, that entire sequence of events, I'm sorry, pissed me off to Drew and just, I'm sorry, I don't care about him anymore. Just the fact that he would play a child and use a child against Michael in this way. But then to see Lucas and Michael both consoling Wiley and, kind of reassuring him, and just a great fatherly moment.
Oh, yeah.
So just absolutely fantastic all around.
Yeah.
And leave it to Rick to be right there with Drew when he does it. Like, of all people.
Rick with his, it's not right to bring the kids into, he kidnapped a pregnant Carly right in front of Michael and traumatized the kid so much that he couldn't speak. And then when Michael could speak and said that it was Rick tried to gaslight the poor bastard. And the only one who believed him was Jason.
Wow.
So I'm just like, you know what, Rick? I love you, but take several seats here.
Yeah.
Good Lord.
But holy cow, this custody battle is turning messy. And I don't just mean
great.
Oh, it's great. It's a great soapy goodness all week long. But that wasn't the only thing that happened in the courtroom. While Sasha was giving her testimony, she goes into labor. And I've got to give it to Sophia Matson, who just flat out performed her ass off during these scenes. And just the way that it was entirely realistic, in my opinion. I've never gone through childbirth, but in terms of watching it on TV and watching my son's mother give birth, it looked as real as it could be.
Yeah, I mean, I think that they did a decent birth for a soap opera. I think they did decent. And my favorite part of it is that it was a absolute classic General Hospital throwback.
Yeah.
To when Monica was delivering giving birth to AJ, and she didn't know if he was Alan's or if he was Rick Weber.
Yep.
And Rick was Leslie's husband. And Leslie delivered AJ.
Yeah.
So, that was a really fun throwback to that. So,
Yeah.
and I also really enjoyed, Willow having to watch Michael and Sasha be so schmutzy with each other.
Yes,
That
that
was
was
so
great.
Yeah, that was a little bit of karmic beautifulness.
Oh yes.
So,
And then they named the baby girl Daisy, which folks there were a lot of people complaining, why didn't they name her Monica and all that? Well, Monica is still alive.
right, Monica's not dead, and I found out they have not yet filmed Monica's death.
Wow. Okay.
And nobody has seen any scripts for it. So they already know what everything they're filming up until the July break, which will take them pretty much all the way through August.
Yeah.
Because they're going dark for the entire month of July. So before they go on break at the end of this month, which is only a few more weeks, they have to be finished pretty much through August. So it doesn't look like it's getting filmed in August either, because it's not on the schedule. So unless they're dropping it in as a last minute thing that they don't want everybody to know about, which I don't know why they would do that, because they had already said it was going to be the summer.
Yeah.
I think we're looking at the fall for Monica's death, which I'm surprised.
They want to do it the right way. They want to make sure the scripts are set. And if they're going to invite anybody back, maybe they have to work on scheduling. So it does make sense to take their time. You don't want to rush into anything. So it just so happens that, Leslie Charleston passed away, I don't want to say prematurely, but before they could write Monica off.
Right.
And now they're just, kind of taking their time and doing what they have to do to make it right. And no, Monica is not going to be recast. So that's not going to happen.
No, they're not going to recast her. They're definitely going to kill off the character. But at this point, it looks like it's not going to be till the fall, which I'm also surprised about, because they're going to have to deal with Leslie's death in the fall as well.
Yeah.
I don't think that it was improvised. I'm just not sure Carolyn Hennessy knew that he would put that much oomph into it. Because he was pretty oomph-tastic. And yes, Aisha, Daisy, she was named after her great aunt Daisy, or her great aunt Courtney's stripper name. I mean, I'm sure that's not why they did it. When I first, Courtney was a stripper for a little while to pay off a debt that AJ had. It was stupid. When I first heard the name Daisy, I thought of The Great Gatsby.
I also thought about the girl from Dawn of Day. So.
Yeah, I know. I saw a lot of people think that too, but I thought of The Great Gatsby. But, I suppose anything's possible.
Never read that book, so I can't comment.
Oh, so
good. Anyways.
I'm also somebody, a child named Katie Scarlett O'Hara, and then another child named Bronte. So, big reader.
Well, there you go. Exactly. Well, while we were talking about a little bit of older history for General Hospital, we're going to jump into our DeLorean, and I'm going to get it over to Professor Angela.
We're sending you back to the future.
We're going to go to today in General Hospital history, and I'm going to turn it over to Professor Angela.
All right. So we're going to go back to June 3rd, which is where we left off. And in 2005, June 3rd, Jax and Courtney were pronounced man and wife. On June 4th, Anna and Robin shared a tearful goodbye on All My Children, and Robin came back to General Hospital. And in 1991, Tawny Ellis debuted as Dominique Taub, who is Cody's mom.
Oh, Cody's mom. Okay.
Yes. And in 2009, Lexi Ainsworth assumed the role of Christina Davis. On June 5th, in 1981, Laura told Rick and Leslie that she was going to Beecher's Corner to look for Luke. In 1989, Jack Wagner returned as Frisco. He had been presumed dead a year earlier. 1995, Sonny told Brenda that Stone had AIDS. In 2003, Ted King debuted as Lorenzo Alcazar, the brother of his other character, Luis Alcazar, who had been, unceremoniously stabbed and thrown off the balcony. June 6th, 1986, Ian Buchanan debuted as Duke Lavery. He was one of my favorite. He was so suave. Oh, God. So good.
I loved him.
In 1997, Pierce Dorman was murdered, and that was a big whodunit. In 2005, Lorenzo and Carly got engaged. June 6th, 1996, the Quartermains and the town gathered together to say goodbye to Lily at her funeral, not Lila, Lily, after she had gone kaboom. In 1994, young Robin was absolutely humiliated when Felicia and then Mac gave her the sex talk. Yeah.
I would love to see those scenes.
Yes, I'm sure I'll look for them on YouTube for you because they were pretty funny. And they were also the ones that Sonny and Carly gave Juan and Emily were pretty good too. On June 9th, in 1994, Ned confronted Catherine Bell about her blackmail, and they ended up in bed. Because who amongst us? In 1994, also, Julio Iglesias made a guest appearance as himself.
Oh, okay.
Yep. In 1995, Emily was at her mother's side, Paige, when her mother died of cancer. And then she went to live with the Quartermains. And in 2004, Jason and Sam's first attempt at a wedding, before they were in love while she was still pregnant with Sonny's baby, was interrupted. First by Carly, and then by Sam, who was calling it off. Yes, Ted King and Laura Wright did work together on The City, and they were incredibly hot together. Mm-hmm. So that was your time in General Hospital history.
All right. Thank you so much, Professor Angela. All right. Yeah, thank you so much. The history is just fantastic to listen to. And I'm sorry, but I want to see Mac go through that sex talk, with Robin, because I could just picture how awkward it would be, because he's very matter of fact.
Right. But, for both of them, because no matter how matter of fact you may be.
Yeah. All right. So let's move on a little bit. We saw a clandestine meeting this week between Anna and Jason about Dalton.
First off, weren't those two dipshits supposed to be meeting in his room above Bobby's?
Yes.
Okay. Obviously, that was, the plan for there had changed. But I'm going to tell you, what I loved about that scene, right?
The ADA coming and breaking them
No.
up. Oh no, the way that Anna asked him, or Jason asked, "What does this have to do with me?"
Right, because Anna totally used Carly.
Yeah.
And I'm like, since when does Anna have to use Carly to get Jason to do something? I absolutely love that turn of events. And and Jason's like, yeah, he was not engaged until, the Carly part of it. He would have helped her, but he was like, if this involves Carly, I need to know everything, and I need to know it now. And it involves Joss? Oh, hell no. Hell no, not my baby girl. I'm going to be taking care of this nonsense right quick and in a hurry.
Yeah.
Yeah. It was hysterical.
But that's going to be interesting now because it seems like it's getting closer to Jason being on the same team as the WSB.
Yeah.
Because I have a feeling, just based on watching it and some of where the stories are looking at, Anna gets booted from her position once the current ADA becomes DA after the election, and Anna goes back to the WSB, and because of that, Jason accepts the offer to become WSB.
Yes, but also, I think Jason might accept that offer beforehand, because I think he's going to find out about Joss. But here's the thing. So, do you remember that conversation him and Carly had on Friday?
Yes.
And I expected that to be more because it seemed weird that it was just those little pieces of it. And then this weekend, while thinking about it, because I do, with what I do, guys, with the writing and the podcasts and everything, I think about this show more than is probably healthy. But I was in the shower, actually. I was thinking about, because I parse it all in my head. And I was like, she asked him if, he would have continued lying to her. I'm like, are they setting up that he's going to lie to her about Joss being a WSB agent? Because he finds out. And, he goes into the WSB to protect Joss.
Yeah, well, he went to jail to protect Michael.
Yeah, he was doing it to protect Michael. And she was, but this is going to be a horse of a different color.
Yeah.
And I'm like, I could see Jason telling Joss that he won't say, he'll cover for her with Carly until this case is over. But then Carly has to know, because he doesn't want the case it could put people in danger, yada, yada, yada.
Yeah.
But, and that wouldn't be a bad thing. And I think Carly would get over it as far as Jason goes or whatever. But I was like, is that where this is going? That she's... Yeah, I think so too. I think that he's going to be the one to find Britt as well. But... See, I'm not sure, because if he finds her in the lab, is he going to believe that she's Britt, or is he going to instantly know that she's some sort of experiment? You know what I mean?
Well, remember,
people come back to life all the time.
I mean, how many times does he come back to life?
You find somebody in a lab and you're thinking,
yeah,
there's something screwy going on, especially because, it's been done to him.
Right.
Somebody coming back to life. He wasn't there when it happened.
Right.
So I don't know if everyone in town, I'm assuming everyone in town's not going to know that she's not Britt for a while. And I'm thinking that he could find her as well. I don't know. I could see a million different ways this is going to go.
What a time for Brad to leave.
Well, I have a feeling we'll see Brad popping back up.
Oh, that'd be nice.
And what would be funny is that I think that Brad is the one who would be the most likely to know she's not actually Britt.
Yeah.
And maybe that's why they got rid of him.
Could be.
For a little while. You know what I mean? Maybe it'll be him coming back and going, wait a minute. You're not my girl. This ain't my girl.
This ain't the bridge.
Exactly.
Yeah. Oh, I'm looking forward to it. Either way, no matter what. We did get to see another familiar face this week. Marshall Ashford made a quick appearance, quick stop in to have a family dinner with Portia and Curtis and Trina and Kai. And they mentioned TJ. So TJ,
I really thought when they mentioned TJ that we were going to hear him, that he was settling in at his new hospital somewhere else. But no, apparently he's one of those went up to the attic to get his skis, and he's just there. We just never see him. Yeah.
He's working on a floor that's never seen.
Yeah. So you don't watch the previews, so you didn't see that we're going to see another old face this week. So.
No, I did not watch the previews, though.
Okay. We tell him, guys. Shh. Let him be surprised.
But it's not Vanessa Marcel, so there's no happiness.
God, I'd be drunk. Are you kidding me? I'd be drunk. I'm happy about who it is because I love them, but I'd be drunk if it was Brenda. I'd be.
All right. So, quick scene. We saw some interaction, nice conversation between Laura and Sunny at the pool. and they were talking about, just life in general, and Rocco and Gio and everything. And Gio comes up to him, accusing him, "Are you talking about me? You talking about me?" That was a funny scene because then Laura, you know what? I love that Laura thanked Gio for helping with Rocco the night of the party. Like, that should have been Dante, but Dante was a little too hot-headed for it.
A little bit.
And then we see mayoral candidate Ezra Boyle taking a video of them having a private conversation, and trying to show that the mayor's in bed with the local mobster, and then Gio happens to walk by and accidentally trips and knocks Ezra into the pool. That was great. I love it.
Well, it's funny because they're having great. And they're having the special election, and I think Ezra is going to win it. But then they're going to have another election in November, and I think Jordan's going to run, and I think she's going to beat him.
That works.
I think Laura's done as mayor, but I think that Ezra's going to win until the special election, and then Jordan's going to take the mayoral seat.
I think that works best.
Yeah.
Because by then Jordan's undercover work with Sidwell should be done.
Well, see, that again, I don't know because, she could still be working undercover with Sidwell, but still be running for mayor because that would help him to have a mayor candidate. You know what I mean? To have the mayor under his thumb, he'd love that. But I think I think the WSB stuff is going to be the big November story.
Okay.
I think I think the Dalton stuff exploding will be the big November story. And Sidwell's involved in that.
Well, speaking of Professor Dalton, we're going to move into our what the fudge moment of the week. And okay, so we see Emma and Gio talking at the pool, and Professor Dalton is enjoying a few libations at the bar. And Emma asks Gio, "Is he looking at me?" And she drops her towel so that it reveals her in her bathing suit. And the idea being that she's trying to lure him. I mean,
playing
because we've seen it. She's been very flirty with him. She's trying to get close to him in any way she can,
right?
Because she knows that he's the one that was testing in California, and that she's raided his lab, and she knows that So any other person that lost the TA position, I don't know if they would go to this length. So that leads me to believe that she is working with WSB because she's really trying to get close to him.
Here's my thing, though. I think that Valentin is right, that Brennan is actually leading the WSB.
Yeah.
And he would know if she was WSB.
Well, that's true. Yeah.
I don't think she's WSB. I think she's just a true believer in her cause.
Yeah.
And I mean, I still think she's going to end up, bless you, as WSB. But I don't think she's WSB yet.
Yep. And oh my God, the backlash online about, Dalton, staring at her ass and, making those googly eyes and whatever, and her trying to use her sexuality. She's a young woman. She's over 18, and
she's old enough to drink.
Yeah, exactly. She's old enough to drink.
I mean, it's not. I mean, yeah, okay, he's a creepy old man, whatever, but it's not like that's not a thing that is,
Right. And I'm sorry, but
he's not giving her unwelcome attention.
Right. Exactly. She wants the attention.
Love of Christ, people. It is a soap opera. I was saying to somebody today, I can't remember what it was. Oh, all these people saying that Drew has to die. Drew has to die. I am sorry. Some of you people are too soft for soaps. This ain't Beanbag. It's a soap opera. give you a little wrestling reference, I can throw one in there too. This ain't beanbag. It is a soap opera. We need messiness. This is not Hallmark. This isn't a very special episode. This is a soap opera.
Yes.
Ava and Sunny, exactly. Hell, there are children on this show that has done worse than Drew. Charlotte put a poisonous snake in Nina's bag.
Yeah.
Stop it. Stop it. It is a soap opera.
Yep. And that was our What the Fudge moment of the week. Brought to you by What the Fudge Homemade Confections from New Haven, Connecticut. If you're in the New Haven, Connecticut area, go to whatthefudgect.com or facebook.com/whatthefudgect. Follow them and get their get their weekly flavors. If you want to buy any and you're in the New Haven, Connecticut area, go ahead and put your order in because the fudge is fantastic. The rave reviews are starting to come in on their Facebook page. It is made in a cottage kitchen, so unfortunately she cannot ship. But if you're in the New Haven, Connecticut area or traveling through or can come up with someplace close by to meet up, you can order it because she has to do all the delivering herself. So again, whatthefudgect.com or facebook.com/whatthefudgect. Just fantastic fudge. I'll leave it at that. And be sure to look for our What the Fudge moment of the week on Suds News and also Gate Crashers when we have it. Okay, so moving on. Steve asks, are they going to recast Kevin? Honestly, right now, I don't think Kevin is needed.
And here's the thing. According to Raina Sofa was asked at an event like 2 months ago if John Lindstrom was gone. And she said, no, he's available to do both shows, which tracks because he's not under contract with Beyond the Gates and he's not under contract with General Hospital, just like Wally Kurth does Days and GH. I don't think they're going to recast Kevin. I think that we could see him show up occasionally. It's not going to be tons, but it wasn't tons anyway.
Right.
If they kill Leslie off, I would bet that Kevin's at the funeral. You know what I mean? But they're getting ready to write Laura out for the summer anyway.
Yeah.
I have a feeling that she's going to go away to lick her wounds after she loses the mayoral race.
Yeah.
That's what they'll do this year. And Kevin will be said to have gone with her. Yeah. They don't need to recast Kevin because John Lindstrom is not obligated to only work for Beyond the Gates. He can do both. Raina Sofer said that he is doing both, so we'll see.
And honestly, I think he's having a lot of fun over there on Beyond the Gates. Yeah. I mean, the character of Joey Armstrong has a mix of Sonny Corinthos and Ryan Chamberlain. Just absolutely, he's having fun. It's the most fun he's probably been having in a while in terms of on a soap. So
they talked about Ace last week.
Yeah, they did. They talked about Ace this past week.
They talked about Ace to Alexis, and she talked about him to somebody else too. I think it was to Sonny.
Yeah.
She talked
They don't talk about Spencer, but Spencer did. So,
but yeah, she talked about Ace, and she talked about soap opera kids only need to be seen if they're part of the plot. They're accessories. They're like a purse or a gun with somebody's fingerprints on it. It only needs to be out every once in a while.
218 people watching. Thank you so much for tuning in right now. Go ahead and hit that like button, subscribe, and get notified. Well, Nicholas is her son. But,
and he's in jail. She knows where he is.
And yeah, 218 people watching live right now, wherever you're watching, whether it's on X or Facebook or LinkedIn or YouTube. Thank you so much for tuning in. Go ahead and hit that like button, subscribe, and get notified. Honestly, Steve, chances are they probably have a nanny watching him.
I was going to say, she's the mayor. He's a, world-class psychologist in high demand. I'm sure they have a nanny.
Yes, of course. Yeah. They do. So either way, but they did talk about his trust fund because Laura confronted Alexis and asked her why $10 million was missing, which, holy cow, $10 million. I wasn't expecting it to be that much this quickly.
Yeah. Well, it cracks me up too because I'm like, why does Laura even care? She didn't even want the kid to have this.
Right.
But she's looking at it. That was weird to me. But I guess they needed something to, plot funny. Yeah.
Either way, it was a good, good. It was a scene that gave me anxiety because of the freaking receptionist that kept coming in at the wrong time with the paperwork that she never asked for.
Yeah. Well,
I mean, it's soapy, but at the same time, it's like, as soon as Laura's ready to leave, the lady comes in. Oh, here's the file for the investments of the, into duos or whatever the name is. And then when Marco comes in to ask her, are you okay with money? And, with the money, I was looking into this, and it seems like it was a shell corporation, could be used for money laundering. And Alexis is kind of like putting him, kind of saying, it's all right, I'm okay. And he's like,
I get it. Yeah.
He's like, I have experience with this. And she's like, are you trying to say that I'm laundering money? It's like, no, but I'm trying to help.
Trying to say it? Yeah, I'm pretty sure I'm just saying it nicely, but I'm saying it.
That was a good scene. I like how they're really tying Marco in. Mm-hmm. As, they're tying Marco in as they never tied Natalia in.
Yeah, and they had him with Eva today.
Yeah. Yep.
Which was interesting. Yeah.
It was. It was a very interesting conversation.
They're integrating them into the canvas pretty well.
They are. Yes. Speaking of Ava, that interaction with Cody and Ava today was a little weird for me. Like, wouldn't Cody know who Ava is? Like, it just seemed to me like it felt like they were strangers meeting for the first time.
I mean, we're to believe that Port Charles is not like New York City, but not East Bumfuck. You know what I mean? It's a reasonably large metropolis with a big shipping port and yada, yada, yada. Not everybody in town is going to know everybody. It's not like Cody's going to an art gallery.
True. Although Ava being in the news so much, I don't know. I thought maybe that disguise that Ava was wearing.
Hat on, and he's a guy. Guys aren't as observant about things like that. Come on, but and you think Cody's sitting down with the paper every day?
Well, that's true. Yeah.
I mean, I like I'm not saying he's stupid. I think that he's looking at racing sheets or reading Sports Illustrated or Horseman's Monthly, whatever stuff like that. He's not reading the gossip columns.
That's very true.
That's
very true.
So, and the interaction with him and Ava today, you again didn't watch the previews, so it leads into something tomorrow with him and Christina.
Okay. Although I did, Christina coming back to the pool for the first time after her fall. Yeah. I get that she's got PTSD. She's nervous about being there and everything, and I don't know where this is leading with her. Like, it just seems like honestly, it seems like with the Christina character, it seems like there's starts and stops. There's like, we're getting close to an outcome of her turning herself in or getting committed or something, and then all of a sudden it goes to something different.
Maybe she tries to kill Ava and accidentally kills Natalia.
That could be. Ooh, I didn't think of that. That's a possibility. I mean, hell, she tried to kill Ava before and got Rick into her.
Right, exactly.
So, that could be, because then that would give her reason for wanting to commit herself, because she's literally going off the deep end.
Yep.
I don't know.
Now, I have a feeling Natalia is, if they're doing a murder thing with her, I have a feeling she's going to meet her end with that dagger.
Yeah.
With Alexis's dagger. I think that's how she might be going out.
That could be.
I really hope she doesn't end up in the pool.
I hope not either.
We need less pool incidents.
I mean, I was going to say, what's going to be the pool incident this year? A couple years ago, we had Ned trip and fall and get amnesia for 6 months.
Yeah.
And then,
We had Cody parachute into the damn thing. And then
Right.
we had Christina fall into it from the, a few stories.
Okay, so what do you think is the big event that Cody wanted to host there?
Well, he told Carly that he wanted to do a singles night once a week. He's looking to make money.
Okay.
That's all it was, is he's looking to make money. And I really think that the whole thing was just an excuse to have him at the pool and needing money, because Christina has a proposition for him tomorrow. So that was, I think it was just to set up that he's looking for a way to make money.
Gotcha.
So, yeah.
Wow. All right. Yeah, I didn't catch that.
Yeah, because that was the whole thing he said to Carly. He was looking for a singles night once a week, charge $50 a pop. And then she was like, and and that, and he was like, but he gets to keep that. But he's like, couples will hook up and they'll want to rent a room. And she's like, we're a 5-star hotel. We don't rent rooms by the hour. And then she told him, she's like, I'm sorry, we have events scheduled every night at the pool through the summer, and no.
Yeah.
So,
but I think she did say she likes his drive.
That he needed money.
Yeah. Okay.
Yeah.
So, all right, that makes sense. All right. All right.
They haven't said if it was for the property.
Anything about that.
I mean, $50 a head at a singles night, I don't think is going to get him serenity, but maybe. They haven't said what he wanted the money for, but.
Speaking of having Christina getting in her face on returning to the theater. Oh, Christina came back there. I mean.
Right. And didn't Christina say that she had accepted that it wasn't Ava's fault or something? You know what I mean? I don't know.
I don't either. I don't know either.
Can't with her.
No, you're absolutely right. All right. Anything else? There was a good conversation between Maxie and Sonny, and then Maxie leaves Sonny and goes to talk to Lucas after she sees Marco, and she's like, "Please tell me that delightful dish is Marco."
Yes. Yeah, I liked with the Sonny thing where she was just like, "Sorry, we need him more than we need you."
Yeah. That was funny. I enjoyed that.
Yeah.
All right. Anything else that we did not get to? Oh, Lulu and Dante. All right. Dante obviously has a reason to be pissed at Lulu, but it seems like Brooklyn is the only one that's not checking her own accountability.
Right.
Like, she's the only one. Lulu has said, I wish I should have done things differently. That wasn't my intention.
And Dante was more mad that she didn't tell him, but she was like, I was trying to find out if it was true or not.
Right.
She wanted to be sure before she went to him.
Yeah.
And it was just, I am so glad. I mean, I have no doubt that eventually they're ending up back together, but I am so glad that she told him, I don't want you back. Not ever. I was so happy that she was just like, I am so done with your shit, man. So done.
Yeah. But at the same time, they said she's like, they don't want anything to do with each other at this point.
Right.
But then the next day, they both told Rocco together.
Well, here's my thing. One, I'll tell my son, okay, that's their son.
Yeah.
And I'd be like, honestly, I might be petty enough that if my ex had said something like that, I might have just gone right upstairs and told him my damn self. That's my child too. You're not going to tell me I can't tell my child something. Are you kidding me? But she didn't. She respected it. And then the next day he just walked into her house. I'm like, dude. Same thing I do whenever Carly or Sonny walks into Carly's. I'm like, knock. You don't live there.
Yes, exactly.
Oh God, I was so annoyed. But she still handled it so well.
Yeah. And where was Charlotte? I mean,
they have said that Charlotte's with friends, Charlotte's at school, Charlotte's still asleep, Charlotte's at Laura. They've said that Charlotte is. the actress who plays Charlotte lives out of state.
Yeah, so
she films a lot less because she has to fly in to do so.
Right.
Yeah.
Let's see. Oh yeah, Chad reminded me of another pool scene with Cody and Molly, and we've talked about Molly being Miss always straight to the point,
reserved and straight laced,
right? And the way that Cody said, "Do you iron your suit and your underwear, your suits and your underwear?" And I love the coupling of Molly and Cody, and just the idea of that. Cody is making her lighten up and open up a little bit, and I like it. I'm sorry, I like it. I think they're better.
I like her. Sorry, go ahead.
I said I think they're a better couple than she was with TJ.
Yeah, her and TJ were the same person.
Yeah.
So it's boring.
Yep.
I like him and Molly. I also like him and Lulu. I like every time one of them has a scene with him, I'm like, oh, that's who I like. Oh no, that's who I like. But I like that happening. That's what we should want on our soap operas is, So I thought that scene with them was very cute at the pool. I enjoyed that greatly.
We had a lot of scenes this week.
Yeah.
And going to visit Sasha in the hospital, and the whole congratulating her on the baby and everything, and I really like Cody. I'm sorry, I've been a huge fan of his from the beginning, and I think they're finally starting to use him better.
Yes, I'm very excited about that too. And Chad, I agree. I think that that age group, I actually said this the other day to my Charlie friends, I think that age group is going to be a Venn diagram of triangles.
Yeah.
And at the end of it, the root four will be Dante and Lulu, Brooklyn and Chase. I don't know if it'll be Michael and Sasha or Michael and Willow, but it'll be one of them. You know what I mean? But it's going to be they're going to all be shaken up for a while, which they need to do because in that age group, they cannot just keep them happy forever. It's a soap opera again.
Exactly.
They're going to break up Brooklyn and Chase. This is not, this should surprise no one. And they're going to dabble in Brooklyn and Dante. They're going to dabble in Chase and Willow. They're going to dabble in Cody and Lulu. And then it'll be Cody and Molly. Dante and Lulu, Chase and Brooklyn. I don't know what the hell they'll do with Willow, but we'll see. What I think will end up happening is either Willow or either Willow or Sasha will leave or they'll bring someone new in because I don't know who else they could mix it up with in there right now. But they could bring Dylan back. He's in that age group too.
Well, they've got Isaiah. Isaiah could be thrown in that mix.
Yeah, but Isaiah's a little bit older though. Isaiah's more the Jordan age group, it seems. He's a little younger, but he's, Lucky, Liz, more that age group than the one younger. And that age group desperately needs men.
Yeah.
So.
That's true. That's very true. All right. All right. Anything else that we did not go over yet?
No, I don't think so.
I think we kind of got everything. Brennan did tell Jocelyn to keep her eye on Anna because Anna's...
Oh, yeah. He was shady as hell.
Oh, yeah. He was.
They got Jack leaning into his bad guy a little bit more and more there.
Yep. And that's what... And to be honest with you, I think Chris McKenna does a much better job at portraying that darkness than Charles Measure did.
Oh, see, I think that Charles Measure would have been, it was great. Because, when I think about his stuff with, Hugh and stuff when he first came on.
I think.
When he tried, he was still, charming with Carly, but there was a switch he could flip. But I think, I'm not saying that Chris isn't doing great with it. I think he's absolutely doing great with it.
See, my thing is, I think Charles Measure's portrayal kept his stuff on his sleeve. He couldn't hide it as much. Chris, when you watch Chris McKenna, he's acting one way, but you can see the undertones of a different thing.
Yes.
So, and again, #1 for 6 days for GH on Hulu. Yeah. So congratulations to GH, #1 on Hulu.
I think the 6 was a Saturday. Was the 10 Sunday, Donna? I don't know. I know the 6 was the Saturday, and there's no new episode of GH on Saturday. So
right.
Yeah, they've been doing gangbusters on Hulu, and don't believe the hype. Their TV ratings are doing well as well. ABC is very happy right now.
Yes.
With how things are looking for General Hospital ratings wise.
Yeah. And it seems
There's
like
more going on.
Oh yeah, and it seems like Beyond the Gates is kind of leveled off a little bit. The hype is over, so they're kind of settling into what their audience is going to be. And again, GH, Corte and Van Etten together have popped the ratings, and they've hot shot the territory, so to speak. And now they're continuing with it. They had to do a couple things to really put the show back on, and I think once they had the nurses ball, all these different secrets came out, and it was just a renaissance for just the drama and stuff.
Yep. And the drama's continuing, and we've got drama going to be playing out for the next few weeks, and then we got July sweeps.
Yes.
We'll ramp right back up. I'm so excited. I love watching it every day.
Yes, I do too. I look forward to it. The first show I watch when I get home from work. Absolutely fantastic, folks. Yes. 249 people currently watching live. Thank you so much for tuning in. Wherever you're watching, whether it's on YouTube or X or Facebook or LinkedIn, thank you so much for tuning in. Go ahead and hit that like button. Interact with the chat. Interact with the show. React to it. Because it helps with the algorithm either way. So, and definitely hit that subscribe button, youtube.com/@Suds-Media. Subscribe and hit that notifications bell, because we have a lot of stuff coming up, whether it's wrestling related or soap related. Just a lot of stuff coming up. And Chad, that's exactly that's what I'm saying. It seems like Brennan, Chris McKenna's Brennan, you could just see he's saying one thing, but you see that evil undertone, that ulterior motive. But I'm loving it either way. But all right, so we are going to close up shop. Angela, you want to kind of talk about the revamping of Petty Prattle and how we're doing a really big push coming up?
We are. Petty Prattle is on the rise. So I've been kind of neglecting her because I've been settling in at Parade, and Vinny's been busy, and Tony's been has things going on, but we are back with a vengeance. We have a crew. We've got a team of writers. We have so much coming up. New stuff has been going on every day. We've been really bad about putting it up on the Twitter, but we have our Twitter, and everything's going up now. And we're not just covering soaps, guys. We're covering soaps. We're covering wrestling. We are covering all of entertainment. So check out Petty Prattle. See what we're writing. We're all going to be posting our articles. We've got Matt from the 10th floor. We've got Vinny. We've got me. We've got Kim. We've got Tony. We've got a great writer named Marvin who has been carrying the load for us. And next month, we may have an exciting collaboration that I'm not going to talk about quite yet, but it could be the joining of two dynasties.
Yes.
Right?
Looking forward to that.
So, yeah, we've got a lot of stuff, really fun. And if you like to write, if you're watching us and you like to write, Petty Prattle is very close to monetizing, so there'll be some money in it soon. But we would love to talk to you, because we want writers. We want content, anything entertainment. Op-eds, recaps, anything you want. Just drop into my DMs, something we have. And I'm very proud of I got a Petty Prattle. We got a Petty Prattle Bible, would you say, Vinny?
Yes.
I did. I went deep dive, and we We're doing great, and we're so excited. So
fantastic. Oh, by the way, folks, just a PSA to put out there. If I were you, I'd run out and get to your grocery stores ASAP to do your grocery shopping. And I know this is just a current event news story that I have to bring up because I care about you all out there. If you're watching from the United States, at least, I care about everybody, but I want to give this information to the people watching in the United States. One of the major vendors to many major grocery stores has been hit with a cyber attack. UNFI, which is United Natural Foods, it's a major distributor of groceries and one of the only distributors to Whole Foods Market, was hit with a cyber attack last Thursday. So a lot of their ordering and distribution channels are closed down. So they're only providing stores with top sellers. And it's they were hit hard. So it could take a while to get that back up and running. So be wary if you're going to go shopping. It mainly affects center store canned goods and bakery items and some prepared foods and stuff. For Whole Foods, it doesn't really affect like meats and seafood and fresh stuff like that. But yes, definitely be wary as you go, if you're not going to go grocery shopping anytime soon, because I don't know how long that's going to take, but definitely help out. And
I have another GH adjacent spoiler real quick.
Okay.
A former GH actor that we all know and some love. Few, I guess, love. I think he's great. I think he got a bad rap. But Wes Ramsey is going to be back on our small screens. He is joining the cast of Days of Our Lives.
Oh, nice. Okay.
Yep. Ramsey has
might have to come back into Days.
I do not know when he is premiering. I know that he's already filming.
It could be next year.
It could be, but I don't think it's going to be that. So last night, Laura Wright dropped the first hints. She did a Zoom last night, and she said that we're going to see Wes on our screens soon, but it wouldn't be General Hospital. And okay. So with her saying it's soon, I think he started filming a while ago, and we'll see him soon. But yes, Wes Ramsey is going to Days of Our Lives. We don't know as what yet, but stay tuned. We'll get you more information as we get it.
Yes. Absolutely. I might have to start watching Days of Our Lives again. I like Wes Ramsey. I'm probably one of the few that actually like Wes Ramsey.
Yeah.
And actually like Peter August in general.
I think he understood the assignment.
Yes, I do too.
He played the character the way the character was supposed to be played.
Yes.
So.
But all right, folks, we are out of time. No Gate Crashers tonight, but Dockside at the Bay does return this week. So keep your eyes out for that. We are on all major podcast platforms, whether it's iHeart, Amazon, Spotify, Apple Podcasts. Look for Suds and Squared Circle Media. That's the channel. Everything goes to that RSS feed, whether it's Suds News, Gate Crashers, Dockside at the Bay, or any kind of Chair Shot Sports premium live event after show that we've done. Also, we're doing an episode of Angela Answers Fan Mail tomorrow. Is that correct?
Hopefully.
Okay.
This is my 98-year-old great aunt issue, but okay. I'm going to see if we can squeeze this in. We're going to try for this one. I have a lot to say. It's like Festivus. I've got a lot of problems with you people, and you're going to hear about it. I have a lot to say. We're working on getting my 98-year-old great aunt into a nursing home, and I'm the only one she wants helping her clean out her apartment because my father and my stepmother just want to go through stuff, and I'll sit there and listen to every story about every item before it goes into the box. So, I love you guys, but 98-year-old great aunt. So.
Oh, I get it. Yeah. I get it.
I'm trying. Yeah.
But either way, Dockside at the Bay will be back this week as well. So Kim and I will be recording that tomorrow, and it'll be out by Thursday. Again, sign up for our Patreon, patreon.com/Suds and Squared Circle. If you want to help out the show, first of all, on Facebook, I am now monetized. So any shorts, you can hit the stars and send them over. That helps out. But also go to Buy Me a Coffee, buymeacoffee.com/Suds Media, and you can help to, help the show in general. We can make upgrades to equipment or upgrades to production values, or get us out to different events as we start getting bigger and growing with not only Suds and Squared Circle, but also Petty Prattle and everything else that we're doing. There's it's a big family here, folks, and we're trying to help everybody.
What is the rising tide? The tide rises. Yep.
Rising tide raises all ships.
Yes.
Yep. So, all right, folks, we are out of time. Angela, let everybody know where they can find you.
Petty Prattle, Twitter, Brooklyn74, Instagram. I'm just everywhere. You guys know that. Daytime Dish. I'm, always willing to wade into that cesspool and have some fun.
All right. And I am at Vinny Suds on Twitter, Facebook, at Suds Media, pretty much everywhere else, whether it's at Suds Media or at Suds and Squared Circle. Some form or fashion of either one of those everywhere. As a matter of fact, Blue Sky, I think, is suds-media.com. So check that out. On our website, suds-media.com. But either way, hit that like button, subscribe, get that notification bell going. 261 people currently watching. Thank you so much for tuning in. We will be back with Suds News and Gate Crashers next week. But keep an eye out for any other kinds of programming coming up by hitting that notification bell. For Angela, I'm Vinny. If you like the show, hit that like button and subscribe. If you hated it, tell an enemy. And we'll be back. For Angela, I'm Vinny. We'll see you next week.
Bye, guys.